What if everything you've ever known, your memories, your body, your sense of time, was just one version of reality among infinite others? Sounds like science fiction. But quantum physics is beginning to reveal something astonishing. Reality isn't fixed, it's fluid. And the more we understand it, the more it seems escape might not mean leaving our world, but simply tuning into another one. Because buried deep within the mathematics of the cosmos and the ancient teachings of mystics, there's a shocking overlap, one that suggests we might be able to bend, twist, or even break the very fabric of space and time. And here's the twist: we've already been doing it. Every time we dream, meditate, or fall into flow states where time vanishes. These might not just be brain quirks, they might be glimpses through the veil. So in this video, we're going to take you on a journey from fractals found in sacred geometry to the dizzying theories of quantum entanglement. We're going to explore how science is catching up to what the ancients always knew. The universe is not out there, it's inside you. And you might already have the blueprint for interdimensional travel hiding in your mind. Welcome to the journey to infinity. The notion of infinity has long fascinated the human mind, a curiosity that has danced at the fringes of our understanding and beckoned us to explore realms far beyond the tangible. The story of infinity is not simply one of numbers and endless sequences, but a sweeping narrative that intertwines mathematics, philosophy, art, and spirituality. As we embark on this journey of discovery, let us loop back and forth between epochs and ideas, each twist unveiling another layer of our collective quest to grasp the ungraspable. In the ancient cradle of civilization, early cultures peered into the endless sky and the boundless seas and began to suspect that some things were immeasurable, beyond finite human experience. For example, ancient Babylonian and Egyptian societies, with their rudimentary systems of counting, laid the groundwork for abstract thought. Even though they did not possess the explicit language of infinity, their systems of numbers hinted at an openness to ideas that transcended mere counting. These early civilizations recognized that some quantities, whether the grains of sand in the desert or the countless stars in the sky, could not be confined within neat, finite boundaries. The Greeks, however, were the first to wrestle openly with infinity as a concept. Philosophers like Anaximander and later Zeno of Elea provoked thought with paradoxes that challenged the limits of logic and perception. Zeno's famous paradoxes, where Achilles never overtakes the tortoise in a race or a runner never reaches the finish line, employed the idea of infinitely divisible space and time. These paradoxes, though initially confounding, spurred a deeper inquiry. Was infinity a mere illusion or an intrinsic part of nature's fabric? The Greek approach was methodical, rooted in rational debate, and their inquiry sparked centuries of debate that would echo through the halls of philosophy and science. The medieval era, deeply intertwined with religious and mystical thought, saw infinity embraced in another light. Infinity was often associated with the divine, a quality of God, who was considered eternal and boundless. Medieval scholars such as Thomas Aquinas began to weave the concept of infinity into the tapestry of theological doctrine. Infinity, in this context, was not just a mathematical abstraction, but a symbol of the sublime, of the mystery beyond human comprehension. The infinite was both a source of wonder and a challenge, a riddle that spanned both the spiritual and the intellectual. Fast forward to the Renaissance, a period when human curiosity and the spirit of inquiry bloomed in new and radical directions. The reawakening of classical texts brought renewed vigor to discussions of infinity. Mathematicians and artists alike began to explore proportions and sequences that hinted at endless possibilities. Leonardo da Vinci, for instance, saw in the human body and the natural world a microcosm of an infinite design. The blend of art and science during this period provided fertile ground for the idea that infinity was not merely an abstract notion, but a practical tool for exploring the universe. The real revolution, however, arrived in the 17th and 18th centuries with the advent of calculus. Mathematicians like Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz developed new mathematical tools that allowed them to tame infinity. Calculus, with its limits and infinitesimal quantities, provided a language that could describe change and motion in a precise, quantifiable way. Suddenly, the infinite was no longer just a philosophical mystery. It was a robust, indispensable part of the scientific method. This breakthrough, however, came with its own set of conceptual challenges. The very act of summing an infinite series or considering an unending process required mathematicians to redefine what it meant for something to be complete or total. Yet, even as calculus offered new insights, the nature of infinity continued to mystify. and a boundary condition that tells us when our models break down or when new physics is required. The real fascination lies in how often our most advanced theories confront infinity, suggesting it may not just be a flaw in our math, but a window into deeper layers of reality we've yet to decode. But how do we practically travel there? It starts within. Not with rockets or machines, but with consciousness. Every mystical tradition has described this kind of travel. The yogis call it samadhi, a state where the self dissolves into universal awareness. Shamans speak of journeying through spirit realms. Buddhist monks describe reaching the void, where all duality collapses. Even modern near-death experiencers talk about entering a field of infinite light, love, and intelligence. But now, science is catching up. Research into psychedelic states, lucid dreams, deep meditation, and multidimensional and even quantum brain models suggest our consciousness can operate outside of linear time and local space. When we enter altered states, whether through silence, breathwork, or even extreme focus, the brain's default mode network shuts down. Time disappears. Identity fades. We begin to detach from the simulated model of reality our mind creates and tap into something much deeper, something limitless, something that might just be infinity itself. This is just the beginning. The more we understand about the geometry of the universe, the repeating spirals, the non-locality of matter, the more we begin to realize infinity isn't a place you reach. It's a frequency you tune into, and that frequency might be always available. We just need to learn how to dial in. Let's flip the lens now, not from what reality is, but from who's watching it. In quantum physics, the observer effect shows that the act of observation changes the behavior of particles. Electrons exist in a state of probability until you observe them. Then they choose a position. This raises a radical question. Are we shaping reality just by being aware of it? In the famous double-slit experiment, particles fired through two slits form a wave pattern, showing they act like waves of possibility. But when a measuring device is added, the particles act like solid matter. The only difference was that they were being watched. This seems to confirm what mystics have always said. The world is a mirror. Consciousness is the light that reveals the form. If we collapse probabilities into physical form through observation, then the mind is not just inside reality. It's participating in constructing it. This also supports spiritual teachings from the Upanishads and Buddhist texts that the self and the universe are not two. It means consciousness isn't a byproduct of the brain. It might be the source code of reality itself. So to escape reality isn't about running away. It's about realizing you were never trapped to begin with. The prison was perception. Now let's level up. Enter quantum entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they can be separated by vast distances and still mirror each other instantly. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. This defies classical physics. Information shouldn't travel faster than light, yet it does. The implication? Space might be an illusion. Everything might be connected at a deeper level of reality. Theoretical physicist John Wheeler believed the universe operates not on things, but on relationships. He called it "it from bit," reality arising from information, not substance. Entanglement suggests that your consciousness might already be linked to distant parts of the universe. That you're not just in one location first, you are non-locally connected to the cosmos. And then there's wormholes, theoretical tunnels through space-time. In Einstein-Rosen bridge theory, two black holes could be connected, forming a shortcut between distant places in the universe, or even between dimensions. Sound like sci-fi? It's not. In fact, new research in quantum gravity shows entangled particles could create the fabric of space itself, meaning wormholes may not be rare. They could be part of the universe's skeleton. Combine that with the many worlds interpretation, the idea that every quantum decision creates a new universe, and we're looking at an existence with infinite versions of reality. Your life right now is just one frame of an infinite film strip. To escape it, you don't need a spaceship. You need awareness sharp enough to shift the lens. So, how do we use all of this? What does it mean to escape reality in practical terms? First, understand that reality is not objective. It's a filtered simulation constructed by your brain, based on your senses, experiences, and expectations. Modern neuroscience supports this. You don't see the world as it is. You see a brain-generated model of it. The world out there is decoded by your nervous system and assembled inside your consciousness. This means it can be rewired. Every time you meditate, visualize, lucid dream, or enter deep flow, you're altering that simulation. You're shifting dimensions, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. Deep meditation, focused silence, not only relaxes the nervous system, although it allows access to theta and gamma brainwaves. These are linked to mystical states, vivid visuals, and timeless awareness. Breathwork, certain breath patterns, like holotropic breathing, induce altered states where visions, downloads, and emotional breakthroughs occur. Lucid dreaming. When you awaken within a dream, you begin to understand how fluid reality is. The lesson: waking life may be no different. Quantum visualization, using intention to collapse possibility waves into specific outcomes. This is not just wishful thinking. It's aligning consciousness with potential futures. Sacred geometry focus. Meditating on fractals and geometrical forms has been shown to synchronize hemispheres of the brain and induce trance states. These aren't just rituals. They're technologies of consciousness. The universe doesn't just contain infinity. It operates through it. From the unending expansion of space to the limitless combinations of particles, the cosmos expresses infinity as a principle of potential. Stars are born, die, and recycle their atoms into new systems, a continuous, unbounded loop. Even time, as far as we can measure, moves forward without a known endpoint. On a quantum level, particles exist in superposition, not in one state, but in many, and until measured out. This reveals that the universe doesn't choose a single path until consciousness enters the equation. Infinity, then, isn't abstract. It's the engine of diversity, complexity, and evolution. For us as humans, understanding this changes everything. It reminds us that we are not confined to rigid systems, roles, or realities. Creativity, growth, and awareness are not fixed. They're expansive, infinite processes. The more we align with that principle, the more we transcend limitation, mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Infinity isn't just a concept of size, it's a mirror, showing us our untapped capacity to evolve, to adapt, and to imagine endlessly. In that sense, the universe invites us not just to observe infinity, but to embody it.